Ow! Bro.
On our way. What's going on?
You might want to stand back.
Hey everyone, this is SpideyFan 101. I'm here today to talk about the newest episode of Big Hero 6. Now, I took a little bit of a break after I watched the episode, just to let it sit in my brain for a while. And, you know, this episode was pretty good. I mean, yeah, it was really good. I do enjoy the fact that, you know, Baron Von Steamer came back. I mean, he's not my favorite villain in this show, but he was good. And I also, he was still gullible, but he was a lot less gullible than he was. So yeah, let's get into it. So the episode starts with a newscast saying how crime has been at an all-time low because of Big Hero 6. But then we cut to Hero's garage, where he's putting together this giant board because he's trying to connect the pieces to what Obake's plan is. So Baymax comes in, tries to get his attention, turns up the volume completely on his voice, and speaks so loud that it makes the whole thing vibrate. And Hero's like, okay, nothing's more important than what I'm doing right now. And then Fred contacts him and says, hey, nothing is more important than what is happening right now. And of course, it's Wasabi's birthday today. Yay, happy birthday, Wasabi. So, the next scene, everyone's trying to figure out what they want to do, what they're going to do for Wasabi's birthday. And, you know, it's all, out of all the plans that they had, and I'm not saying this because I'm biased, although I am, but I would agree with Gogo's plan, because she just said, put some money in the bag and give it to him. That's what I would do. But Hero comes up with the idea, hey, you know Wasabi's car that we left in the ocean after we were being chased by yokai? Or they would call him Callahan. Well, why don't we get that from the bottom of the ocean and have that be his present? So everyone's in agreement that that's a good plan. And meanwhile, a newscast is on that shows this huge statue of Boss Awesome, aka Stan Lee, in the middle of the water. And so it's looking all cool and everything. And Minimax is like, no one can ever fill his shoes. And Fred's like, that's right. Until he realizes that Minimax was referring to him. So, yeah. Afterwards, we cut to Hero constructing aquatic suits. So him and Baymax can go down there and get edit that out. The car. So Hero finds the car. He tries to look inside of it to see if there's anything in there, but there's a giant shark in there. So Baymax turns on this like amplifier thing and pretty much drives the shark away. So while they're getting the car, Fred is trying to distract Wasabi by taking him anywhere he wants to go. Which is an organized... What was it? I'm gonna let Wasabi talk real quick, because I need to know where he wanted to go.
Actually, I was thinking of going buck wild. Let's hit my favorite store, The Organized Gentleman.
Store called The Organized Gentleman? You heard it here. But, yeah, so that's going on. But we cut back to Hero's garage as Gogo is fixing the car. Hylam is just so excited for Wasabi to see that they fixed his car. This is gonna be amazing. But Hero's not paying attention to any of this because he's looking at his crime wall on his phone because he knows something's up. he's got to figure this out. He's got to figure out what Obake is planning. Gogo tries to comfort him, but it's all awkward because she's not that shoulder pat type person. But we cut to Wasabi and the team with a birthday cake. It says "Happy Birthday, Wasabi" with some organized socks. Oxen is dressed like a drawer and it's all nice. And he's all grateful, but he's also a perfectionist, so he calls out some of the imperfections. But Gogo says, "Blow out your candles." But he's like, I'm not sure about that. And then Baymax points out that, the chemicals from the fire and the candles are going to go onto the top of the cake once you blow out the candles. So there's all that bacteria. And Wasabi's like, "Exactly, you really know me, Baymax." So he uses this small bell thing to put out the candles. And the team and Hero's like, "Come outside real quick, we got something for you." And so he finishes taking out the candles, and the team shows him the car, are all brand new and fresh looking. So Wasabi's all grateful. He says, "Let's take it on a test drive." And then we cut to the ocean as this weird robotic looking crab, which it is a robotic crab, but is going through the water into this pipe, and turns out it's going to Obake's new underwater lair. So he sees that Hero and Baymax were there taking the car out of the ocean. And so he's like, always busy. And he hears like this ruckus outside. And so he goes on to see what it is, and it's Baron Von Steamer, his little Incredibles 2 undermine a drill thing. So he sees who that is. He goes back to the schematics that we saw in the back of the painting like episodes ago. Or should I say months ago, because that episode that was in premiered months ago, and that was also the first appearance of Obake, in case you forgot. So we cut back to the team as they're taking the car for a test drive. There's a lot of traffic going on, but they're looking at the statue of Boss Awesome, aka Stan Lee, and Fred's like, "Oh, I can never be in his shoes. I can never like truly live up to him." And so he gets a call from Heathcliff saying, "Oh, Baron Von Steamer has left you a message." And he's like, "On the phone?" No, he's very old school. So they go back to the mansion and see that he got it on this old tape thing. Like, it's like on this old projector. And so he's like, "Baymax, turn off the lights." Okay. And so he projects it on Baymax, and he's pretty much saying like, "Hello, Big Hero 6. If you want to see San Francisco live another day, you will bring Boss Awesome here to me at once." And of course, he doesn't say it that fluently because he does mess up because he's reading off like a teleprompter or something. But, you know, that's the basic gist of it. And so, of course, Obake is watching as well because he's watching Big Hero 6 watch the video, which is crazy in on itself. So he knows what's going on too. And so they contact Stan Lee to see if he could help in any way, but he's off like trying to help sloths, because like we see that while he's talking to the team, he's got sloths all over him. And so he has a great idea. "Oh, why don't you dress like me and pretend that you're Boss Awesome?" He's like, "Great idea." So the next scene is him and Stan Lee. Sorry, there's an ad for the Nutcracker on. I don't want to see any more footage from that film. Like, I'm so excited for it. Anyway, we're not talking about Nutcracker right now. We're talking about Big Hero 6. So, we cut to the next scene, which is of Fred and Stan Lee. Pretty much, like, Stan Lee's on the screen, and Fred is actually there, and he's trying to train so that he could really come off as looking the part. So, Stan Lee's teaching him everything he needs to know. Fred's looking at a comic book for extra information, and Stan Lee's going crazy on this tree. He kicked the tree and a piece of the bark fell out. He punched the tree so hard that he made a pair of teeth out of it. Not like real teeth. I'm talking about like sculpted teeth, like inside the tree. He even punched a hole into the tree like he's Iron Fist. Although if Danny were to punch the tree like that, you know, it would just explode all over the place. But you know what I mean. So Fred tries to recreate some of these things by having like cardboard versions of every villain they've faced. Every villain the Big Hero 6 have faced. And so he's trying to go up against them, and it's just embarrassing. The sloths even try to cover Stan Lee's eyes at one point. It looks hilarious. And so he pretends to be Baron von Steamer, and Stan Lee's like, okay, you gotta do my classic pressure point move. And so Fred tries to do it, and instead of it actually working, it tickles him. Which is crazy. So we cut back to Obake and Noodle Burger Boy. I'm surprised I remember his name. Wow, I am proud of myself. So, Noodle Burger Boy and Obake are inside the underwater layer. Noodle Burger Boy's like, hey, what you got there? And he's like, I have H2O. I need to turn it into D2O. And he's like, oh, what's D2O? And then Obake picks up this button, and he's like, oh, what does that button do? And it shuts him down, because apparently he's being annoying. So the next scene comes, Fred is back into Stan Lee's lair, and he's putting on Stan Lee's suit. And Stan Lee's like, it's alright, son, you'll do great. And he's like, thanks, Dad. And they have like a nice embrace, even though Stan Lee's on the screen. But the next scene, the team are in their suits getting ready so that when Baron von Steamer comes, they could like be set. So Fred is there waiting for Baron von Steamer to show up. He shows up, he comes out of the ground. He's like, well, if it isn't Boss Awesome. He's like, yes, it's me, Boss Awesome. And then Baron von Steamer steams him. He's like, oh no, you steamed me. I guess it's time for you to capture me now. He doesn't actually do that, but, you know, that's the basic gist of it. So Baron von Steamer takes him in, although he notices that there's something weird about him. And it's not the fact that he looks completely young, or that he's it's not the fact that he looks completely young, or that he looks like 10 times smaller, but it's that he's been working out. He's like, yes, I've been working out. So, yeah, he gets captured. Now it's time for them to wait. Because their plan is they want to have him reveal his maniacal plan, because that's apparently what he does every time, so that when the time comes, Big Hero 6 can come in and stop him. But here's the thing. Once we get into Baron von Steamer's thing, and Fred tries to get that out of him, he started this already. So he says, you know what? I'm not going to tell you my plan, because that's how you beat me. So I'm not going to do it. And it throws the team off, because now they don't know what's happening. So it turns out that the giant Boss Awesome actually, before that happens, Big Hero 6 hear a message from Obake. And out of all the things, this is the craziest part of this episode. And that is the fact that Obake actually helps them. I mean, I was not expecting that, like, at all. They realize, so Hero realizes that the giant Boss Awesome statue is actually, surprise, a Baron von Steamer statue. And he has this giant steamer gun that he's going to use to steam and destroy the city. So Hero and Baymax go get their aquatic suits. And they jump in the water. And Go-Go, Wasabi, and Honey Lemon try to get down there as fast as they can. So while that's happening, Fred and Baron von Steamer are having banter. And we cut to Hero and Baymax. Hero is observing the giant pipe that's down there, sucking up water. And he wants Baymax to go into overdrive mode. Now, as we all know, overdrive mode drains Baymax's battery to a large extent. But he does it anyway. So he goes in overdrive mode. He goes Super Sonic the Hedgehog speeds, or if we're going with, you know, the whole Marvel theme here, he's going Quicksilver type speeds. Quicksilver mixed with Yo-Yo. There we go. And so he's going super fast, and he goes into like this drill formation and destroys the entire like water carriage, I guess you could call it. So now they can't use any steam. So his plan fails, but he's trying to get away. But little does he know that Go-Go, Wasabi, and Honey Lemon are there to save the day. And it turns out they've added a new feature to Wasabi's car, which is going underwater. So they go underwater. There are a bunch of heat-seeking missiles that are following them. And so Go presses a button, and it goes into full speed. And so Wasabi is dodging these heat-seeking missiles, and he's going straight towards the module that Steamer's trying to get away, and the missiles go right into it, and it explodes. And so Baron von Steamer gets out of the water, and he swims away. He hits this guy who was on a hoverboard, throws him into the water, tries to get on the hoverboard to escape, but Big Hero 6 is surrounding him. So Fred does this weird thing where he doesn't do the pressure point move, but he tickles him instead, and tickles him on his foot, which is kind of weird. And of course the team is also weirded out too, because their facial expressions are priceless. So Baron von Steamer gets arrested. The day is saved. Baymax comes out of the water, all battery drained. Maybe he needs since if you watch my Baymax Dreams reactions, you know that Hero was like making like all these random chips for Baymax. Now is an actual time where he needs to create chips for Baymax, but he doesn't do it now. That's weird. But they go back to the garage. They're looking at the crime wall. They're all weirded out because Obake actually helped them. But they're suspecting that it's not because of Steamer, but it's because of something that has to deal with the water. And of course we know that he's transferring H2O to D2O. So once we cut back to him, we see that it's 100% complete, and he's all like this. And then that's where the episode ends. So, this is definitely one of the best episodes. It's not the best, nor is it my favorite. Because my favorite would be that episode where, I think it was the one where Hiro was like testing his... It was like the one where he made that super strong fiber skin, and he had to realize that if he was just being him, then, you know, he wouldn't have to worry about that. It was that episode. I'm trying to look it up so I could get the name. Hold on a second. Boom! Kentucky Kaiju. That's my favorite one. But yeah, this one was still amazing. So I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. And that is because of the fact that I love this episode. I love the developments. I love the fact that they were celebrating Wasabi's birthday, which is great. I love the fact that this episode was like super focused. And that's great because, like, I think this series from now on should just avoid having episodes like Big Hero 7. Because Big Hero 7 was an absolute disappointment. I think, like, the lowest episode that I've given, the lowest rating that I've given an episode was like a 7 or a 7.5. And I gave that to Mirror Woods. Because it was a filler episode. It was still great, but it was a filler episode. That's why I gave it that. But it didn't really progress the story. But Big Hero 7, I would give like a straight 6 or 5. That was a straight disappointment on every level. So, yeah. This one and the one before it, which is titled Big Problem, those two were definitely vast improvements. I mean, the entire series has been great and has really lived up to the movie's greatness. But that episode, Big Hero 7, was an absolute disappointment. It was the equivalent of it was like Tangled the series bad. It was like Tangled Season 2 bad. Because Tangled Season 2 has literally been the worst. I haven't been watching it because it's torture for me watching that season. So anyway, 9.5 out of 10. This episode was great. Peace.
Love the glitter.
Yes! Yes!
Yeah.
Last dance, freak!
5, 6, 7, 8. That was so cool. And scene. Goodbye.